This is the history of Fall Creek logging.
Logging started in Fall Creek in 1855. Pine trees were the trees that needed to be logged, and Fall Creek had a variety of trees and not much pine trees. So loggers had to travel north to Chippewa Falls or Cadott to find logging sites. The land in Fall Creek needed to be cleared of trees in order to farm it, so loggers cut the trees down and used it for firewood.
The saw that loggers used was called a crosscut saw. It was powered by hand and required two people to cut the tree down. This is hard work, especially the trees are large. Other tools included axes, which would be used on smaller trees and allowing the person to use swing axe. Lumberjacks used axes to cut limbs off trees so it was not getting all over the sawmill or getting jammed in the sawmill. Horses were important because they didn't have large vehicles to transport the logs. The horses pulled sleighs filled with logs. In the wintertime, the roads needed to be iced so the sleighs could slide easier and the horses could pull faster. The care of the horses were important because if loggers did not feed or water the horses, they could get sick or even death. The lumberjacks would have a problem.
In the beginning, when logging first started in the Fall Creek area, logs were floated down the river. Log riders would escort the logs to the mill and help if the logs got jammed. Lumberjacks would get them unjammed. A pike pole would be used to unjam the logs if they became stuck in the river. After the steam engine was invented, steam power was used to transport logs to the mill. Loggers now use heavy-duty trucks, or specifically logging trucks. The horses would also pull a single logs to the sleigh. Lumberjacks would tie ropes around the log, and the horses could pull the logs out of the brush to the sleigh. Loggers would then roll the logs up a ramp onto the sleigh. Once logs were taken to the mill, many items could be made out of logs. Logs made houses, tables, cabins, barns, sleighs, and other buildings.
Loggers worked all through summer, fall, and winter. Spring was too muddy to work in because the tires would get stuck. They had to work for their food and they got paid at spring because that is when the owners got paid, and they did not see their families. Loggers were in a logging camp, and Sunday loggers got off to clean their clothes and sheets. Loggers had to live in little cabins with other loggers. It was very stinky in there because they have no showers and they would have to go to places like hotels to get showers. Logging people would sing songs and play card games and dance at the end of the day.
Lumberjack's breakfast was beans, oatmeal, and cured meats such as bacon and ham. Oatmeal was loggers' main breakfast. Breakfast was important and kept loggers full all day till lunch or supper. Food that would be preserved without refrigeration, such as potatoes, onions, and rutabagas, were important because there was no refrigeration. The saw at the mill was very dangerous because people could cut their fingers or even arms off. The lumberjack would push the log into the saw and had to keep pushing until the log was fully cut. When loggers got their arms or fingers cut off, they would have to go home because they were unable to work due to injury.
That real important in this area.
Okay.
There were two reasons for it. One is that you don't, most of the, what type of trees did they log? Do you know what kind?
Probably pine.
Pine, exactly, pine, so on. And you really didn't hit the big pine forest until you got north of us, up around Cadott and Cornell, what they called the pineries. We lived in what was called the mixed hardwood forest, which meant that there were pine, but they were here and there and everywhere.